Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews. Today we are discussing Super Mario Bros. Directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic and starring Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black, Seth Rogen and Keegan-Michael Key. Mario and Luigi find themselves getting sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom and they must find each other and return back home, all whilst Bowser tries to take over the world. Before we get into the pros and the negatives, I do have a little caveat that needs explaining. I watched this film in a packed screening of parents and children, and it was hateful. And it isn't just the kids, trust me, several parents were just talking full volume or just getting their phone out and offering light pollution. I actually lost a little bit of faith in humanity today. It's a simple rule, it's a very good rule. There's plenty of reasons why this rule exists. And it is a rule that has existed since cinemas began. And anybody can follow it. The simple rule is, shut up! But sadly in 2023 that no longer seems to be the case. Now people are willingly buying cinema tickets and sitting down to have a loud as hell conversation and let their kids just run riot and be my problem. I might as well have watched this movie on a billboard in Times Square for the amount of noise and movement constantly going on around me. It was insane. Mum, that's a Game Boy! Dad, I've spilt my Ribena! Yeah, I can hand on heart say that this is definitely the worst cinema experience I've ever had. The screen caught fire when I watched Happy Feet and I had to stand outside the fire exit in the freezing snow. And this was still worse than Happy Feet. That's saying quite a lot. So, if this is you, if you are taking your children to the cinema to just be loud as hell and tire them out whilst you don't care and you're sitting on your phone, I hate you. And so does everybody else. You are in a public place with other people. Respect that. Please, thank you, for the sake of my sanity. Now let's get into the film. Starting with the pros, and the big one being that I thought the visuals were out of this world. It is seriously impressive, down to a molecular detail of the moustache and the single hairs. It's bright, it's colourful, it's imaginative. In that regard, it's a beautiful film, and it is absolutely at the top of its game in animation. They are respectful of the material, unlike the live-action version with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. This movie is Ronseal. It does what it says on the tin, and fans will get their moments within the film. Jack Black is having the time of his life, and he is perfectly cast. And I also really liked Keegan-Michael Key. I thought he was unrecognisable as Toad. Some of the action set pieces were great fun. Rainbow Road, awesome. The fight with Donkey Kong, awesome. You might have seen it in the trailer and we'll get to that, but nonetheless, they were great, fun scenes that hit their marks perfectly. And on that note, the film is fun. It really is. They are trying their absolute hardest to entertain you, and they do an okay job of doing so. It's incredibly thin and hollow, with no emotional attachment whatsoever from the audience, but it is fun. And that does really dovetail into the negatives of Super Mario Bros. Starting with the one that I briefly just mentioned, that being that the trailer absolutely kneecapped this movie. All of the best parts, all of the best jokes are all in the trailer. And I would have laughed if it was the first time of seeing it. But because they're in the trailer, I've seen these jokes 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 times now. So yeah, it's not that it's a bad joke, it's just I've seen it, heard it. What more do you want from me? And that's disappointing to find out that there wasn't more to be had. Pacing is something that I complain about with a lot of movies. Generally speaking, I complain about them taking too long and there being a huge portion here that you could easily just chop it out, get rid, make it smoother. Actually, Super Mario Bros. Is the reverse of that. The pacing was awful because it is so rushed and so quick. There isn't a minute of downtime with any of these characters. It touches upon character. It touches upon relationships. It touches upon development. It never actually does it, though. And that is just lazy, to be brutally honest. And what else is lazy is that there really isn't a plot or an interesting story at all. It's as basic as it can be, and it feels incredibly empty because of that. I like to say this one a lot, but it's references the movie. The references and the Easter eggs were written first, and the plot was written around it. For example, there's a brief moment where Cranky Kong says, "We need the carts." And internally I said, because we need to reference Mario Kart, right? And I was right. The only reason they go and get the carts is so that you can sit there and go, oh, that's that. Oh, that's that from that Mario Kart game. Oh, cool, they did the thing that you can do in the game. And that's all this film really is, to be honest. If I'm going to give Ready Player One stick for doing that, then I kind of have to give Super Mario Bros. Stick for doing the same thing. You're not telling an interesting story, you're just making me sit down and go, ooh, nice. When I'd actually have liked to be a little bit emotionally invested, maybe feel some sort of warmth and good message for the kids to take home with them and learn from. No, it really is just noise and colour splashed on a screen for 90 minutes. And ultimately, I think it does boil down to the fact that I thought the writing was lazy. Chemistry between characters was incredibly lacking through the film, and the only two characters I actually thought had some chemistry was Mario and Luigi. Shame there isn't much. Mario and Luigi should just be called the Mario movie. So I'm going to give Super Mario Bros. A 7 out of 10. I wanted to really like this movie. I'm a huge fan of Mario. The guy himself literally sits on my shelf behind me in every single review. It's really fun, but it's utterly weightless. Despite exploring all of these worlds and all of these characters, it never felt like it went any deeper than the screen it was projected upon. It's a mindless 90 minutes of popcorn and enjoyment, but it's far from the best thing you've seen. I don't think this is kicking down any doors in the video game movie industry by any means whatsoever. It's got nothing on the Lego movie, and I'd even argue the two Sonic movies were better than this. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section. Have you seen Super Mario Bros? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you haven't had enough of this crazy ginger, you can always click on these suggested videos here and get yourself lost in an IMO wormhole. But if not, take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.